Okay, with that, we'll move along through old business. Are there any more nominations for the vacancies in for the School of Nursing representative? There are currently 2 positions open. Are there any further nominations for that? Okay, Vice President Brown?
I nominate Aleha Saleh.
Any further nominations for nursing representative? Okay, seeing none, those will remain open. If you do have any, please pass them along to Parliamentarian Gladys, and she'd be happy to take them.
Vice President Brown, can you spell that name? All right, cool.
Are there any nominations for Weatherhead School of Weatherhead representative? Yes.
Has the jury decided about the whole freshman thing?
You just want? Yep.
Yeah, judicial board, some of us met and we talked about it, and ultimately we decided that this is not the time to have freshmen running as first semesters. So yeah.
Representative Lambert?
Could I nominate Stephanie Chen for Weatherhead?
Any further nominations for Weatherhead representative? Okay, if you do have any more, pass them along again to Parliamentarian Gladys. Any nominations for the first year commuter student representative? Okay, seeing none, again, if you do come up with any, pass them along to Parliamentarian Gladys. So that's it for old business. Moving along into new business. Representative Thompson.
Move to introduce Bill B22-10.
Okay. Vice President Williams. I looked to my right for you since you're normally over that way, and then you weren't there, and I got confused.
Your own plan has gone against you. Good evening, Assembly. Before you tonight, we have the bill that was originally referred back to Finance Committee. Right after we got out of Assembly, probably about a day later or so, Nritya emailed me saying that because of the complications that they had heard about from this, that they wanted to change the purpose of their event. So it is no longer meant to be a fundraiser in any way, shape, or form. It is simply meant to be a cultural dinner. The Finance Committee heard this and approved it unanimously on our end. And so tonight we are asking for your approval of that. So with that, I'm open up to points.
Are there any points for the speaker? Vice President Gallo?
You said unanimous consent with finance?
Yes.
Okay. Just to prevent anything.
Plus internal chair Dooner, I believe, is also there.
Any other questions for the speaker? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Vice President Williams. Is there a speaker in the con? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into discussion. I'll set 2 minutes for the initial time limit. Are there any points for discussion? Representative Ranagoswamy? Is there any dissent to ending discussion? Okay, seeing no dissent to ending discussion, we'll move right into the vote. Please vote now. A, yes, in favor of passing Bill B22-10. B, no, opposed. And C, to abstain. Okay, Bill B22-10 passes. With that, is there any other new business? Vice President Brown?
Sorry, move to introduce Bill B22-12.
Okay, Speaker in the pro, Vice President Williams. You can be more confident with those secondings of things you'd like to introduce, Assembly. It's a general note. Shout it out.
So we have a role recognition bill before you this evening. The 3 organizations, Spartan Bhangra, the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, and the Case Chocolate Lovers Club. So Spartan Bhangra, Finance committee originally was kind of confused because we thought, okay, this sounds just like UISA and Nritya dance team. I met with Partik Singh, who's the president, and found out how, for lack of a better term, culturally ignorant I was. This is a completely separate kind of dance. It'd almost be like trying to compare salsa dancing and waltzing. So, yeah. National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, if you recall, they were on the last bill. We had to strike them because they didn't meet the requirements. They have since met the requirements, and so we're bringing them back up. In the case Chocolate Lovers Club, I think the name is pretty self-explanatory. They want to spread the love of possibly one of the best foods in the world. So with that, I'm open up to points.
Representative Thompson?
So rolling funding's closed, right?
Correct.
So what's the point of recognizing them this semester and not just waiting for mass funding?
Could you clarify waiting for mass funding?
So like, why wouldn't they just be recognized as part of like is that how it works? You know what I'm saying?
So one of the things that that we looked at last semester, for example, and said that typically we don't recognize student organizations ask for mass funding for that very point, that we've run out of rolling funding, etc. But we also look at this as an opportunity to get more organizations involved on campus, and that once spring semester hits, that they can immediately hit the ground running applying for rolling funding.
As a point of information, if you look at the expiration date for the recognitions, it does expire June 2013, not 12. So we're not recognizing them for like 3 months. Or a few months. So all next semester. Vice President Vaughn?
Do they get the automatic allocation for this semester, or is that only come with...
With our rollover, I could very easily say yes. We'll work with them if they request it. Technically, no, but we'd work with them.
Any more questions for the speaker? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Vice President Williams. Is there a speaker in the con? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into discussion. I'll set an initial 2 minutes as a time limit. Are there any points? Representative Rooker?
I feel like the Spartan Bhangra, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but anyway, I just feel like that's really close to, what is that, Nirtia? And, you know, Vice President Williams brought up the difference between salsa and waltz, but we have the Case Ballroom Dance Club that does both salsa and waltz in the same club. And so I feel like it's too close for me.
Representative Feaster?
I don't do either, but having several friends that are involved in both, and having been to the Indian cultural show, they are like really different. I'll sort of defer to my more knowledgeable dance people, but as a thoroughly culturally ignorant person, I can say that they are in two very, very different things.
Representative Amin? Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm personally on Nirtia, so like I know the difference, and you can't have it like both of us are competitive. Like you don't have competitions for both because it's like playing for two. Like the dances are like one's jumping up and down, while the other one is like staying down more. So like they wouldn't ever be able to like combine without getting points deducted.
Vice President Vaughn.
Yeah, I just think the most important part, just to go off what you were saying, is that there's separate competitions for these two different groups. There's actually like, within the Indian culture, there's so many different types of dance. Like I personally was on the Ross team, but the teams, like I don't know how to do Bhangra and compete, so the teams couldn't overlap in that sense. And you can't take the same team to the two different competitions because they're completely different styles of dance. And someone who might make Nritya might not make the Bhangra team. So I think that they're just completely different.
We've hit time for discussion. Is there a motion to extend? If not, we'll just call the question automatically and move into the vote. So, seeing no motion to extend discussion, we'll move right into the vote. You can vote now. Please press A, yes, in favor of passing Bill B 22-12, B, no opposed, and C, to abstain. Okay, and Bill B 22-12 passes. So, Vice President Vaughn?
I move to open nominations for the engineering representative.
Is there a second? Okay, great. So nominations are reopened for engineering representative. We had to close them to elect Mr. Marshall, so now they're reopened. There are 2 further positions, so if there are any nominations, we'd be happy to take them now. Okay. Seeing none, if Secretary Digby.
I'd like to nominate Daniel Shapira.
Any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, if you do come up with any, please send them to Parliamentarian Gladys. With that, unless I'm missing anything, that's the end of new business. So we will keep moving right along into committee reports. We're going to skip ahead for a moment to student life report. So Vice President Vaughn.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to start off by saying that we have a very special Thanksgiving student life meeting next week. So feel free to stop by because there's going to be a surprise treat. And I unfortunately won't be there, though. So Sharif? Yeah, that's the treat. The treat is you don't have to see my face. Sharif is going to be running it along with Meghna. And we have 2 complete initiatives, as you can see on our agenda, the Grab It Doorstop and getting new basketballs for Veal, which the new basketballs was brought through the moderator. It's our first check on the list, so yay. We also have a Student Life Committee member of the bye-week, excuse me, it's been a little while since, but this member is not an elected member of the Assembly, and she is one of the people who completed the task of the Grab It Doorstop. So it's Cassie, right here, Cassie Stewart, one of our at-large representatives. She likes nerds, so I looked for nerds today and I couldn't find them, but I will get you some eventually. And as a news report, to celebrate the accomplishments of USG, we will be having a Grab It Doorstop ribbon cutting ceremony. The date I will send out to all of DA, and I hope you all can make it. We're looking into getting some large pair of scissors and very tiny string, like balloon string, and Cassie will chop away. So, with that, the pending initiatives, we have a couple of new initiatives. Other than that, if you have questions, I'm open to points.
Is the speaker aware that we do have balloon ribbon in the office still?
I do know we have balloon ribbon, but we don't have large scissors.
Okay.
So.
Any other points for the speaker?
We are, I will just say, oh, sorry, there was a point. I'm sorry. We are looking into, as our initiatives get done, continuing this ribbon cutting ceremony. So the big scissors will not be a one-time investment. It'll be continuous. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I will send another email. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, that was something we did do, just not one of our larger initiatives, but in Leutner and Fribley, for places where they have the large stove, making sure that vegetarian options were cooked on like a pan instead of on the large stove so that vegetarians can still eat them. But we do have Meghna working on a complete line of food, kind of trying to get more food for vegetarians. So we'll talk to Dana Einheit about getting the pans, making sure that they're there continuously. But thank you, yeah.
Any other points for the speaker? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Vice President Vaughn. Moving along to public relations, Vice President Gallo. Granted.
What's up, guys? Hey all. Hopefully all of your classes are going well, along with any extracurriculars you are involved with. I just want to point out that this is the time of the semester that people tend to start getting that lazy, why should I care feeling. You can kind of sense it in this room right now. Well, before Patrick talked, VP Vaughn, everyone started paying attention then. Before then, it was kind of like downbeat, but now it's picking up a little bit. But yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. The feelings are normal. I get them too sometimes. You shouldn't succumb to them, though. If you need to take a break, go for it, but don't let it become a habit. And I put a little inspirational quote. A clay pot sitting in the sun will always be a clay pot. It has to go through the white heat of the furnace to become porcelain. So the white heat is hard work. So at least that's what I thought about it. So think about that quote sometimes when you're feeling, why should I care? Y'all have bright futures ahead of you. I hate to see them diminish because you'd rather watch Friends than go to class, which is not even a good show. But work hard, love what you do, and you'll eventually be rewarded. Business. Halloween events that we participated in, USG. Halloween at home and Halloween in Twing. Some of you guys were there. Halloween in Twing was just a community outreach kind of thing. So a bunch of elementary school kids came along and we handed out candy. All the offices in Twing did it. We used the bubble machine, which they cared more about the bubbles than the candy, which was weird, but I'm a sugar fan. Halloween at home was awesome. In case you were wondering, there was a costume contest. One person in every grade won for best costume, and I actually won for the juniors, so pat myself on the back. I was repping USG, obviously. Pizza Olympics was awesome. We're not talking about that really this week because we want to confirm all the numbers and stuff. We don't want to give you faulty data. Newsletter going out tonight after GA, just waiting on some final articles and numbers. Once again, confirmation. Don't want bad data. Moderator is cool, awesome. There's over 2,000. Well, there's 2,695 votes as of 5 minutes ago, with over 65 ideas. And as VP Vaughn pointed out, he just had his first thing completed. So, congrats. I really do see that as something that the students can go to when they need something fixed or have an issue or an idea, and it's just the easiest way for them to talk to us. And Twing Study Over. PR committee is determining a giveaway. For those of you that haven't been there, every group gives away, not every group, but the cool groups give away something. Last year we handed out something. It wasn't cool, so. But we will need workers in half-hour shifts, so look out for that. And office hours, 10:30 to 12 on Friday in the USG office. Committee meetings tomorrow from actually 8 to 9, not 8:30 to 9:30 for the 6 or 7 extras that come out. That's a joke. It's in House 5. And fun fact, astronomers have found a super Earth-like planet they believe may have liquid water and could sustain human life. The planet rotates around its planet star every 198 days, and it's estimated that the average temperature is around 48 degrees Fahrenheit. The only problem? It's 42 light years away, which presents a little bit of a challenge for current technology. And there's the link if you guys want to read about it. So that's where our great grandkids might live. No, a lot more greats than that, but any questions for me? Open the floor.
Vice President Vaughn?
So how awesome is our IM team?
Which IM team?
All of them.
Well, they're not doing as planned. Surprisingly, we're not the most athletic group on campus. I know, right? Newsflash. Flag football, we got last. It's okay, though. We had fun, right? We had fun. Yeah, that's all that matters. Volleyball, we haven't won, I don't think. Oh, we haven't played. I haven't played. Our game yesterday, our past 2 games got canceled. Last week was their fault. This week was our fault. Oops. But we do have a game sometime. I don't know. That would be my IM chair that you'd have to talk to.
Team has actually been deleted.
Oh, the team has been deleted.
Lack of attendance.
Yeah.
Both football and volleyball. So
yeah.
We had to cancel too many games, and it just got deleted.
So we're actually gonna have a bonding experience where we all go to the tattoo parlor and get tears on our cheeks. No, but we really do want to see you guys come out and participate. It's you guys are too businessy. We need to be more of friends. Come out to these events. It's fun, even if we lose by a lot. Any other points? If not, I'll open up to Representative Torres for Rep Spotlight. He has Junior Mints and Reese's Pieces tonight. No? You sure? Okay.
All right, so put your. Sorry about that. Whoever wins the Reese's Pieces, they should be okay still. Put your thinking caps on because we're about to do Representative Spotlight. All right, so our first representative. Here's your first clue. Their favorite type of music is rock. Pretty specific, right? Their favorite flavor of ice cream is chocolate chip cookie dough. The thing that they like most about USG is that we actually do things that make a difference for the university and the students. I think we all feel that way. But this is pretty interesting. If they could have witnessed any event, past, present, or future, it would have been the storming of the Bastille. Maybe that's a hint. Anyone know anyone that enjoys French history? This is gonna help. Their major is biomedical engineering. Any guesses? No, not yet. What else do we have here? Oh, their campus involvement outside of USG is Case Kung Fu.
Vice President Williams.
Is it Representative McGarry?
It is. Congratulations. What'd you like? Junior Mints. All right. So then here you go. And it's all. Which one? Up here? And actually, thank you for reminding me, Vice President Gallo. So I keep messing this up, but I'm supposed to read additional facts about our representative. So not only did you find out all that cool stuff about him, but they're from Portland, Oregon, and he would like to keep his name the same. If he could have chosen it, he would have went with Conrad, which I think is great too. And his favorite thing to do as a child was build with Legos. So that's your freshman representative, Conrad McGarry.
Where's the names?
Names right here. So if you do, that's who you do.
Nice. Hi, guys. So next up, we have a wonderful participant of the undergraduate student government. The kind of music that they're interested in is, and I quote, the hipster kind.
Vice President Brown.
Is it Lynn Tran?
It is not.
Ooh.
Sorry. Okay. Second hint. The thing they like best about USG is the impact that we make on campus. All right, moving on. Favorite game. What was your favorite game to play as a child? Pitch Black. I don't know what that means.
Is it Representative Thompson?
It is not. All right, moving on. The fourth hint. If you could witness any event in the past, what would it be? It would be Luke Skywalker unmasking his father's mask, Anakin Skywalker, aka Dark.
Representative
Darth Vader.
Thompson.
Representative Christopherson.
No.
That was
This
my
is tricky.
guess.
We got a lot of good guesses. A lot of good guesses. All right. Moving on.
You can't guess.
What does this person want to do after college? After optometry school, create my own optometry practice in a low-income area to help the less fortunate.
I know it.
Sounds like a saint.
Okay.
Who's first?
Representative Dini. Oh, Beckman, sorry.
It is. Good job. Congratulations, and you get your maybe broken Reese's Pieces.
Can you break Reese's Pieces?
No. So the next couple facts about our wonderful vice president, treasurer.
Promotion.
You know, all's well that ends well. He's from Hannervinton, Ohio. Is that Hannervinton? Wow. Okay. His hobbies are just recently foursquaring, singing, and dancing. His major is chemistry, and his outside activities are SIGNU, UTA for biology lab. The two of those things. So stay tuned next GA for more fun.
Okay, any final points for the PR committee? Seeing none, we'll move right along to Information Technology, Vice President Brown. Granted.
Hi GA, happy Diwali. So a lot of things are in my report, so I just want to give a quick update on something that was not. So I spoke with the Nord Lab, since I've heard from many of you that you're very impressed with the service and the speed upgrades that have happened over the summer. So the issue is that they upgraded, but the server doesn't have enough capacity to handle the upgrades, so basically they ran out of money. So what I'll be doing is I'll be talking with the engineering caucus and Michelle here in a bit to figure out a plan of attack to get the Nord Lab back up to speed, hopefully. So just want to give you guys a heads up, and I'm open to points.
Any points for the speaker?
Thanks, you guys.
Finance Committee, Vice President Williams.
If you've ever wondered what it was like to complete mass funding, here's what it is. Or if you've ever wanted to know if you were completing mass funding, if you were just doing something you didn't know what it was, here's what it is. If you've ever funded 384 individual bottles of bubbles for World Happiness Day, you were probably completing mass funding. If you funded HVZ 10, then you were probably completing mass funding. If you were funding a new water polo goal because the one is 30 years old, you probably completed mass funding. If you funded a table for 1 penny, you probably completed mass funding, and by the way, the group filled out the form wrong. If you denied a request for a binder for $148,000, you probably completed mass funding. If you reviewed 132 individual spreadsheets that took 10 hours to do, you probably completed mass funding. And if you completed 462 individual events that are all now on a complete calendar for anybody on the CWRU campus to go and find at any point, you probably completed mass funding. So if you did not get a chance to come to the awesome party that was mass funding, you still have a chance to come to the after party, otherwise known as appeals, which is coming up this week, starting tomorrow night. We have them Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You all have community hour free, so you could all come to it. How great is that? So with that, I'm open up to points.
Any points for the speaker? Vice President Gallo.
Will there be drinks at this after party?
There could possibly be drinks.
Okay.
Does the $362,000 include that $148,000 item?
No. Knowing the source of the request, Speaker McKee, and knowing who maybe suggested it, we have wisely chosen to bring it out of the total.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Any other points? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Vice President Williams. Academic Affairs, Vice President Fitch.
Okay, so for the GPA Restart course repeat that I'm sure you've all guys have gotten from either my emails or the undergraduate studies office, there was 3 of them sent out to the entire campus. I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads that saying that you did not read it, but that policy has changed on that. The transition period is yet to be determined on when that will start. It most likely will either be a grandfathering process, starting in the 2013 fall, or a hard deadline starting in the fall of 2014. So if you're going to repeat a course, do it quickly, because it's going to change. So for course repeat, the first grade will stay. As of right now, it's the first grade is completely wiped off your transcript and not counting in the GPA. That's changing. We're also working on nursing student transportation to the community clinicals, which seems to be kind of iffy right now. They're kind of fend for yourself and get there, yet discouraged from taking public transportation because they're not always going to the safest areas. So it can be kind of iffy. And then the biology lab concerns, I've heard from like the freshmen mostly. There's a couple on the moderator even. We need examples to really continue on with this, because without having hard examples, it just kind of sounds like just the general is basically sounds whiny. So we need examples. If you can send them to me, let freshmen know. We need examples. And that's it.
Any points for the speaker, Representative Huffman?
What do we need examples of?
I've heard basically what we're saying is graders are being inconsistent. I've heard a couple of different things of the TAs, their PowerPoints don't really say much, or they don't know what's going on. There's a lot of things about the freshmen are kind of going out of order in the chain of command, so that's an issue that has been trying to be dealt with internally. But any examples of those inconsistencies and things like that to see if it's a real problem.
Any other points for the speaker? Representative Sarda?
When does the GPA change? What do you think it's going to happen?
Most likely it's probably going to be the hard deadline of the fall 2014 based on like clarity, and basically they don't want to have any grandfathering in of having two people at the same time repeating a course and following different policies. So most likely I think it'll end up being the hard deadline of the fall 2014.
Representative Brown-Graves?
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. One quick note on advising. I don't know if you know anything about it, or if not, could look into it. But on SIS, or in general, advisors being reassigned without notifying the student. I know that happened to me. It sounds like it happened to a few other people. So I just don't know if that's something you could look into as well when you're looking at advising.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other points? Mr. Junior?
On the SIS note, maybe also like an email notification like a week before class registration starts. That would have saved me.
Okay.
Any other points for the speaker? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Vice President Fitch. To jump back up in committee reports, President Hale for the Executive Committee. Vice President Williams.
I just had a quick question. Where's the card for Elise? Can you pass it this way? Thanks.
Good evening, GA. I feel like everyone's like, normally people are like looking down and doing something. Everyone's staring tonight for some reason. So I have 3 things to talk about, and a few of them are pretty substantial, at least in my opinion. So where I usually try to be very brief, maybe I'll talk a little longer than usual. So just bear with. I think they're things you'll find interesting. But first, I think I know Dan talked about it briefly. If someone's already hashed the congratulations, I apologize for repeating. But I think we owe a little congratulations and thanks to Swami for Pizza Olympics. He worked with vendors to get us more than 250 boxes of pizza. And then also thanks to everybody that was there volunteering. We fed more than 750 people at the event. So you at least made a difference in someone's stomach for a few hours. Congratulations. The other 2 things that I have that are a little more substantial, you'll find briefly mentioned maybe in the exec report, are what I'm calling the finance project, and then exec subcommittees. So first, the finance project. What does that mean? About a month ago now, the executive committee decided to direct a big chunk of its effort towards our external finances for the remainder of the year, looking for transformational change there.
So when I say external finances, that means how we give money to groups, how we disperse money to groups, how we allocate money to groups. So what does that mean? What does that project mean? We've split it up into sort of 3 buckets of work to do for the committee. The first is what we're doing right now, fact finding. The second is choosing and developing some improvement or course of action or small change to the bylaws, whatever it is we decide. And then finally, approving and implementing it. So coming with you guys with our recommendation, or to you guys with our recommendation, asking for your approval, and then finally implementing whatever it is we want to do. This was in response to those of you who have been around for a few years, the huge spike in rollover we're suddenly getting. So if you were to look longitudinally at the rollover between semesters, it's grown significantly in the past couple years, anticipating rolling over nearly half of our allocated budget is something to me that was very striking, to the rest of the committee that was also very striking. So looking for some way to fix that. So again, the idea is to help groups spend money, and right now we're trying to figure out what exactly is going on behind the scenes that's contributing to this rollover. So a couple deadlines to be aware of, because I want you guys to be up to speed and know when the interesting stuff is happening. So next Monday in exec committee, it's 3:30 in the USG office on Mondays, FYI. The fact-finding work groups will be giving their report. So there's 3 groups. One's looking internally, what would the ideal funding scenario look like internally? One's looking externally, so to the groups, what should funding look like? And then one is doing some benchmarking, what do other schools do? And so next Monday is their deadline for presenting their findings after investigating this for a couple weeks. So if you're interested in finding out what they found out, come join us on Monday. The second deadline is December 3rd. That's when we'll be making our decision about what improvement or course of action to take. It's also on Monday, so just foresight, that's right before the end of the semester. December 3rd will be our last opportunity to discuss what we want to do. Then next semester, February 11th, we'll be presenting whatever recommendation we come up with, or small work groups will be coming up with recommendations to the rest of the committee. And then the next week, the week of February 18th, we'll be presenting to GA. So you guys have the dates, you know how fast-paced it is. Come join us. Does that make sense? Does that answer any questions about what people saw in the exec report? Tom sort of raised his hand.
Just gonna say, like, how big of a scale change are we, like, is this just like, well, let's make rolling funding open another week or something? Like, this is a big scale, right?
Sure, so to give folks a sense of scale, what's on the table is everything. So I sort of, when I presented the idea of breaking up the project, right now the groups are responsible for being very visionary and, you know, saying what if a lot. When we come back together for the end of the semester to decide the course of action, perhaps the scale will get shrunk down. Maybe we realize we have something that's really good that just needs to get tailored a little bit. Or maybe we realize we really do need a whole new system. But right now what's on the table is everything. I'm imagining we'll find some happy spot in the middle between changing everything and what's a manageable change we can make and have a large impact. So scale's big. So the other thing is exec subcommittees. Well, maybe I'll give you some context first. So it's my opinion that exec is very much in service to the assembly. We work to make sure you guys can do your work. And I think a part of that responsibility of service is ensuring that we're doing our job effectively, or as effectively as we could. And so we're not just sitting around on Mondays chatting about what we did over the weekend, but we're having substantial discussions that improve the organization and do something to help you guys be better representatives. It's my opinion, and I think some other members of exec perhaps share, that we are not meeting our full potential. And so an idea came along from Speaker McKee that perhaps to give our discussions better scope and focus, so that people were able to have a better idea what it is we were talking about, we split up into 2 subcommittees for part of our committee time. One of those is a steering committee that talks about long-term issues and planning, and the other is an internal subcommittee that runs the operation, more or less. So we experimented with it last week. We'll be deciding whether or not to keep it before next week. I don't know, steering committee had a good time, so I think it was a success. But just to keep you guys in the loop with how we're using our time, thought I would share that. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? Not anything radical. We're still talking about the same stuff, just different context. Last two things. Know that we have back-to-back GAs in 2 weeks. So there will be a GA on November 27th and also a GA on December 4th. I know those are the end of the semester. There's a lot of work to be done. Those are also the weeks that there's often a lot of USG work to be done. So plan accordingly. Give yourself 2 hours for GA. We usually discuss some substantial stuff. I'm of the opinion that I have a lot of homework to do is not a very good excuse for missing an assembly. You guys are all leaders on campus. You ought to be able to manage your time accordingly. But just be aware, some beefy GAs coming on November 27th and December 4th. And last but not least, SEC, of which we are a member, the Student Executive Council, is it semesterly or annual? I actually don't know this. Semesterly? The semesterly open forum will be this Thursday. There will actually be 2 open forums. Colin and I will be attending as the SEC representatives for USG to answer questions from students about our organization and the other SEC organizations. 2 forums held simultaneously, 8 p.m. on Thursday in the Rough Rider Room and in Wade Commons. That's it.
Any points for President Hale? Vice President Brown?
What is being done to promote the SEC open forum? Because I know in previous years it's had terrible turnout.
Right. So this year, we discussed it briefly in one of our SEC meetings. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of business to take care of. But it was rebranded this year as a meeting with the leadership from each of the member organizations instead of a meeting with the SEC, because the SEC doesn't seem to have much meaning to Joe Schmo student. Other than that, email went to all undergrads, sent that on Monday. There's posters, I think. It's in the Rough Rider Room. We'll get the people that are there if no one else, so.
Vice President Williams?
So if I don't just want to talk to USG, who else could I talk to at an SEC open forum meeting?
Good question. Interesting that you don't know. So if for those who are unaware, the SEC is the collective group. It is the main function of the organization is to control the disbursement of the student activities fee, but its member organizations are USG, us, RHA, the Res Hall Association, UPB, Programming Board, COC, Class Officer Collective, IFC and Panhell. I think that's it. Media Board, I always miss them. So media boards like the Observer, the radio, stuff like that. So the president and financial officer of each of those organizations, they each have different titles, will at the very least be present, and then a couple will, I expect, bring a few other people, especially like media boards, since they're so diverse and their president doesn't really stay involved with all the sub-organizations. But yeah, so leadership from each of those big campus umbrella organizations.
Any other points for the speaker? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, President Hale.
Thanks.
Moving into other officer reports, is there anything from the treasurers this evening? Representative Ranagoswamy? Granted.
Hello, everyone. One of my, answers wasn't said during my, what was it called? What did they call it? Representative Spotlight. It's kind of funny. If they said, I'm just saying, if I could be named anyone else, what would I be? Well, I really like my name, and the only reason I would change it if my parents change it, and my parents were going to name me Katie, so I'm like, but surprise, I'm a boy, so so that's the only name I would change it to. So anyways, fun fact about my life. Yeah. So the treasurer thrilling talks. So please tell your treasurers to put in disbursements 2 weeks after the event. Technically, that's a rule, but we don't really follow it that as hard as we should. But it's going to make our lives so much easier at the end when we have a ton of disbursements and there's finals, and I don't want to approve over 100 by the end. So we have like 100 in there right now, but 79, my bad. So, but please tell your treasurers to try to get them in as soon as possible. So I'm open up to points.
Any points for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, Treasurer Ridgway. Moving into my quick report, my office hours are there. Feel free to email me if you want to schedule a meeting and you can't make it. Take a look at my suggestion of the week on scheduling courses. It's really neat that I could go in and say, I only want a course that fills a tech elective but is in the afternoons and not on Fridays. And it gives me all the options that works. So check that out too if you're still looking. Also, as 2 little quick questions, just by a show of hands, really fast. How many of you feel like you have at least somewhat decent understanding of Robert's rules in parliamentary procedure? Okay, good. And similar line, but slightly different. How many of you right now feel comfortable making motions in GA during discussion on bills, etc.? Okay. Thanks, guys. That's all I have. So if there are no questions for me, then Secretary Digby.
In my little report, it's come to my attention that some people are missing their placards. I have malignant feelings towards you. That's why you don't have one. Send me an email if you're missing yours, because sometimes people take them home. Sometimes they just poof, and sometimes I just lose them. So yeah, send me an email.
Okay, with that, we'll move into open forum. Are there any points or any topics that anybody's looking for assembly-wide feedback or discussion on? Vice President Vaughn?
I just wanted to say to everyone that we do have vacancies, and we've had vacancies all year. So just try to be proactive. I know we tried to get the caucuses to focus on it, but try to be proactive in that.
Treasurer Payne?
Okay, I don't know if this is announcements or open forum, but I think it's open forum, but I don't know. Okay, anyway, I don't want to sound like anyone's mom, excuse me, or anything, but as someone that spends a fair bit of time in the USG office, people leave trash in there, like around the computers and on the tables and on the couches all the time. And like the garbage can is 2 steps away from the door, so just throw it out on your way out, please. It's really gross when I have to do it for other people, and I will do it because it bugs me. I don't want to like nag anybody, but just think about it. Okay.
Mr. Dudner?
So I want to actually get this off the ground at some point. As an internal development thing, I want to have a USG like lock-in or game night or some kind of USG bonding thingy. But I don't have a committee. It's really sad. So if you want to help me plan it, come talk to me afterwards, and I'll get like a list of people. Should be fun.
Any other points for open forum? Okay. Seeing none, Colleen, is there an advisor's report?
It's too bad Swami left, because I wanted to make a little noise over him too. You guys, I think you realize now just how large Pizza Olympics really is, if you were able to join us. And I just wanted to thank all of the volunteers who showed up the night before, and actually during the event. What a blast. It was a blast working with you. And I want to thank you for that. And I did want to thank him publicly, at least it'll be in the minutes. I think it's an effort that started in August? Did we start in August? So clearly it took a long time. And it really did take an enormous amount of time on Aditya's part. So anyway, I just wanted to publicly thank him for that. And to thank you. That was a real fun event. I think you should be really proud of it. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Colleen. As a quick tangent off that as well, Swami put in so much effort into this that like at our retreat, he like stayed up for part of the night talking to me about how best to budget for pizzas and vendors and make the event work, like for several hours during the night of retreat time too. So he really put in a lot of time to that. So if you do see him, give him an extra pat on the shoulder for all the hard work he put in. With that, we'll move into announcements. Are there any announcements? Representative Lambert.
Hey guys, so unfortunately Michelle is not here, but I'm making the announcement for her. We, as a USG Engineering Caucus, we're hosting peer advising tomorrow evening at Wade Commons. It's from 6:30 to 8. So if any of you freshmen or sophomores need help planning your schedules for next semester and your engineers, you can feel free to stop by. Please, please, please spread the word to your friends. I know Michelle tried to contact the freshman caucus, so please spread the word and get people to come. And if you want to help out and you're an upperclassman, feel free to stop by and just chill out. There's free food, free drinks. Just come and have fun.
Other announcements, Representative Thompson.
So it's Tuesday. You know what that means? Nacho Tuesday. Sigma Nu, be there, 10 o'clock.
I have one announcement. The Caseman's Glee Club is having our annual fall concert at 7 this Saturday in Harkness. So if you can be there, that'd be great. Other announcements? Representative Tron?
I have the card for Ali, so if you didn't get a chance to sign it, come find me after.
Vice President Gala?
Attention. Cannonball. Anybody seen Anchorman? No. Oh, I have an announcement. Cannonball. Move to adjourn.
Sorry, the Share the Vision Committee on Friday during community hour is having an event that Colleen is passing out flyers for, and it's all about what the Share the Vision Committee does. And there is a featured speaker on the day of to be announced. Oh, it's you! Oh, it's me. It's me.
Share the Vision winner, award winner from last year. So we have to come out and support him.
Thank you.
Okay. Other announcements? Vice President
I
Hahn?
move to adjourn.
Any dissent? Oh. Okay. We are adjourned. Please remember to turn in your clickers